The Mendocino Local Agency Formation Commission, Monday, January 8th. First order of business is roll call, please.
Commissioner McNerlin. Commissioner Doble.
Here.
Commissioner McCowan.
Here.
Commissioner Brown.
Here.
Commissioner Orth.
Here.
Commissioner Rosenberg. Here. Commissioner Ward.
Yes, here.
Apologies from Commissioners Gonzalez and Hamburg, and we haven't heard word from Commissioner Ignacio yet.
Okay, next item, public expression. Is there anybody in the audience that'd like to approach the commission, talk about something not on the agenda? Seeing none, we'll move on to item 3, other business. None. Consent calendar. 4A, approval of the December 4th regular summary minutes, and 4B, approval of the December 2017 claims and financial report. I would like to pull the claims and financial report. Is there any other polls? Okay.
I'll move approval of the balance of the consent calendar.
Is there a second?
Second. Oh.
You got it.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner McNerlin.
Yes.
Commissioner Doble.
Yes.
Commissioner McCowan.
Yes.
Commissioner Brown.
Yes.
Commissioner Orth.
Yes.
Commissioner Ward.
Yes. On the claims and financial report, on the, I don't know what you call this, the budget and application track, you have up there at the top fiscal year of 16-17 budget. It should be 17-18 budget. Also, I wanted to bring up the,
What page was that?
it's
Mr.
page 9 of 16.
Okay.
I just wanted to give an update on our rent. I met with Kerry Randall, I believe his last name is, and
Yes.
I met with him after the meeting last month, and then I met him again on December 6th. He assured me that he would take care of it. He's been on vacation. He got back today. They billed us at the new rate, the $424 a month rate, rather than the $404 plus whatever CPI is. There is a check in here that has been issued to it. I'm hoping that we'll just get the approval for the commission to send the $424, but hopefully we'll have a refund next month. I will try to meet with him again today or tomorrow, but he's been gone, what, 2 weeks, 3 weeks? Been a long time. So I had 2 meetings with him. I don't see it as an issue. He reassured me both times. It's just a matter of putting the information in the rent agreement, and then as well as I wanted to see if he would offer us a 3-year deal as well as a 1-year deal. So anyway, saying that, I'd like to get the approval of the commission to approve what we did pay, and then we'll seek a refund next month because I believe we're overpaying it. The third item that I had was, it wasn't on our list, but we refunded Millview County Water $10 for their application fee. It's not on our financial report, but there was a check to refund that, and we're back down to a 0. Just wanted to bring it to your attention.
Thank you.
Okay, that's all I have. Anyone else? John?
Well, I thought we had authorized the chair to meet with the city and finalize the agreement, so I could be mistaken.
No, we did.
My recollection is we've already essentially given you the direction.
We did, but unfortunately they billed us the $424.
Correct.
And I'm not happy about that. You know, at least he could have just billed the old rate and then paid him the additional, but it is what it is, and our staff has already cut the check. Yeah, Beth?
For the record, Kerry Randall had no input on that because he was away. So I worked with his staff person, and rather than put him in a position to make the decision and perhaps get repercussions, I said just go ahead and charge us and we'll do a credit next month.
Okay.
So that was on me.
So even though I don't believe we owe it, I'd like to get approval on it, and we can deal with the refund next month. It's very, I don't understand the delay in this. I've met with him twice. There's no been problems, but unfortunately we're not getting the results, and I'll stay on top of it. Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
Move approval of the claims.
As corrected.
As corrected, thank you.
And with further direction. Second.
Okay, we have a second, a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion on it? Tony, do you have any input? Okay, roll call, please.
Commissioner McNerlin?
Aye.
Commissioner Doble?
Yes.
Commissioner McCowan?
Yes.
Commissioner Brown?
Yes.
Commissioner Orth?
Yes.
Commissioner Ward?
Yes, thank you. Move on to public hearing items. At this time, there are no public hearings in January, as well as workshop items, no workshop items in January 2018. Now, I understand from our minutes that we were anticipating some workshops this month.
We were anticipating two. The holiday season kind of put a crimp in that. We do have two admin drafts out to the districts for review, and they just weren't able to get back to us in time.
The holiday season.
Correct.
Probably, okay. So we're still on track to have them next month.
We now have three admin drafts out to the districts for review, so we're hoping to have those three for February.
Good. Okay, item number 7, matters for discussion and possible action. 7A, mid-year budget and work plan review for fiscal year 2017 and 18. You want to start that one, Uma?
Thank you. So this is, the staff report summarizes our mid-year review both for the budget and the work plan. You'll see the budget is on page 14 of 16. Where we have no outstanding budget concerns at this time. The adopted budget was $160,225, and about $72,000 of that has been expended to date. We're just under 50% expended for the basic services and the work plan. The rest of them are likely delays in receiving bills for those. For the work plan, we've been focused on finishing up the fire district SOI updates and working on second round MSRs. We've also been working on the mutual water company profiles, and that's taken quite a bit of staff research to identify the mutual water companies in the county. And then also we are sending out or have sent out surveys to each of those that we've identified. We've also focused on the JPAs and receiving, soliciting the agreements, and we'll be posting those on the website. And then we've done some projects, finalizing some old projects, completing the Anderson Valley CSD activation of latent powers, and then doing a pre-application for the Millview County Water District. And that has been our focus for the year, this fiscal year to date. And if there's any questions, I'd be happy to go into those further.
Tony.
On the cash flow situation, I see the appropriation fees are just $50,000 thus far. That's why we have reserves, I know, but are we okay on our cash flow? When does the bulk of the fees come in?
Those tend to come through the throughout the fiscal year. This was an approximation. I don't have the exact total from the county. I didn't have that information in time.
But it hasn't been a problem.
No, most of it comes in by this time of the year. There's
Yeah,
a few
after-
stragglers
Yeah,
come in
few.
for the next 6 months, but most of it comes in this time.
After the December 10th payout to the county taxes, is that kind of when?
I don't know how it all
Districts get-
works, but
It's been,
Okay, well, I
We're-
just
we're-
thought I'd
we're
bring it
okay.
up, just in case. I mean,
I can follow up and get a more accurate number for the next meeting.
I'm sure you'll let us know if you go cash short, so.
Okay.
any other questions on the mid-year budget? I do have one. Your original contract called for certain SOIs and work to be done. Are we still on track for having that completed by June 30th?
If you looked at, jumping ahead to the next agenda item on page 16 of the
Okay.
packet, there's a rundown of what our 2017-18 work plan is and where we stand. We likely will not be completed with this work plan by June 30th. We hope to have the fire districts completed, the city of Willits completed, Brook Trails, and the Redwood Coast Fire Protection District. We have 4 that we have not yet started. We will have those started, but probably not to workshop by the end of the fiscal year.
So would there be monies unused then at the end of June 30th that you didn't spend because the work plans didn't get completed?
That's our anticipation,
Okay.
yes.
Do you have any idea what that kind of money could be?
Not at this time, but as we get in, maybe March, I can give you a
Okay.
better idea.
So we would then roll it over,
Correct.
okay, assuming we have a new contract with you. Carol?
It looks like our staff is trying to complete the work, but they're not getting responses in a timely manner, at least from what this chart looks like.
Shocking.
That hasn't been only gone on about a year or two. John and Carrie.
And thank you very much, because that was going to be my question. And also, do you place phone calls? Because I know community service districts, a lot of times if the fire district is under them, sometimes that mail doesn't get transferred as quickly. At least I've seen that in a couple of instances. And is there something that commissioners can do to help this along?
Thank you. We do start out with email contact. We send out a letter, and then we also follow up with phone calls. There have been changes in fire chiefs.
Yes.
That's been some of the delays. Of course, fire season was extended this year. That was another difficulty. We have tried another approach since it's been dragging on so long. We've been drafting them as much as we can, and then we send them to the districts in that form with the holes identified, holes in data, requesting that specific information. That seems to be working better. When they receive something in writing, a report that's going to the commission, they seem to have an easier time responding to that, I think. So that's the approach we're taking, and it seems to be moving along faster.
John?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Well, I think the difficulties that we face are kind of endemic in the nature of many of the districts, which some of them are strictly volunteer, no administrative staff whatsoever in some cases, or maybe a part-time secretary. We, I think, could eliminate a lot of duplication, and we've talked about it before. Wherever possible, combine the SOI update with the MSR update, so we're only asking for the information one time.
Yeah.
Because it is a challenge to get some of the districts to respond. So again, I really think we would lessen the burden on both our staff and the districts if we made it a practice to combine the SOI with the MSR, except, you know, there are some cities, some of the larger districts, an exception might be in order, but the standard practice ought to be, unless there's a reason to separate out, a clear reason to separate out the SOI, to combine it. And that'll be easier also in the future, because staff is doing a lot of work to clarify the SOIs, so by the time we've completed this round, we will at least know what the SOI is, because as noted in the staff report, there either weren't established SOIs or there were discrepancies in the mapping that have occurred over time. So I think that'll, again, make it a lot easier in the future if we adopt that as a practice. And then there's probably other comments on that, and then I will have a question about the mutual water companies.
Yeah, I have one on that too. So we have all our MSRs done. Once we get the SOIs completed, I think that's a good idea that we bring any 5-year review forward with both items, and I think that'll make it much easier. And hopefully at that time, all we're looking for is updates too.
Correct. And if you look at our work plan, that's how we have done it. The fire districts will be the last, SOI only. The other one that was scheduled for just an SOI update was the city of Willits. I have been talking with city staff about possibly making that into an MSR update as well, since they've gone through so many changes since I think it was adopted in 2015. So we'll be looking at that. But thank you for that comment, Commissioner McCowan.
Yeah, that's a good comment. I do have a question on mutual water districts too. Was that really in your work plan as well? I mean, that's something new that came up that we have to keep track of that.
So this was 2011 legislation that was that required LAFCOs to do this in 2012. It had not been done yet for Mendocino LAFCOs, so we've included that in our work plan. It is additional.
So that's delayed some of this other work as well. John, do you have anything to add to it?
Yes, in the staff report for item 7A, it states that the state, through Assembly Bill 54, mandated that LAFCOs include mutual water companies in our studies. In the work plan on page 16, last item, that we're to do profiles only. So we're not really required to make any determinations. It's just identify these are the mutual water companies. These are the data for those water companies, maps of the area they cover, their finances, that type of thing.
Correct. I don't believe we even need to go into their finances because that gets into the corporate law. I don't think that that's public information. We're just supposed to report on the public information portion. So we anticipate just doing a one-page profile and a map of each of the water mutual water companies and combining that into a document for the commission.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a schedule on how that's going and when you thought you might have that completed?
Sure.
How many are there, by the way?
Our clerk is working on this, so Beth, do you want to give an update?
I've done extensive research from all of the resources that I was provided by UMA, the county, state, etc., word of mouth, and I sent the surveys out via email for any address I had, and mail for any mailing address I had. And at this point, I've started to get a few email responses back, which mostly include, please take me off your list. I no longer have anything to do with this. And so it's a hunt and search at this point. No one seems to have a comprehensive list of just the mutual water companies. I've been working with the planning department, Brian, I think it is.
Carrie?
Yes, and I would like to suggest, I don't know if you've gone on the state website to look, but there's also the Division of Drinking Water. Just transferred from Public Health over to State Water Resources Control Board. But every one of those mutual companies still have to have the inspections and turn in the paperwork.
Yeah.
So they should have a good count. Now, I'm going back to when we were in the drought and thinking of the water companies that we were aware of, and I think there were 4, but not positive.
Well, we're up in the double digits of possibles. All of those websites have many, many, many entities, which can be a hotel or a neighborhood. And then it comes to getting more information to define
I understand what
if they're
you mean
actually
now.
a mutual water company.
Yes,
Yeah.
okay. But in the terms of mutual water company, I mean, I remember there were 4, I think private, you know, but I can understand a hotel and with the treatment of the water and certification of staff that does do the testing. But anyway, that should be interesting. And for my colleagues, if I remember correctly, at CALAFCO, it was an issue that was brought up there because they had no idea. And they wanted transparency, not necessarily, you know, for these reviews, but they felt it was very important because of an issue that occurred, and I think it was Southern California, in seeking out who were these companies. Because there were some bumps in the road, and it was a LAFCO that was trying to make determinations and didn't have all the correct information. So in a lot of ways, this is a good thing.
There's still discovery, and that, but mostly it's narrowing down how much data, you know, and which ones were actually are what we're looking for.
Right.
So they're doing this. They're doing the ducts now. They're going around checking to see how many ducts. It'd be nice if they would put some effort in figuring out how many mutual water companies there are in the state as well.
Well, they're asking us to.
I think
Yeah,
that's
they're
what
asking.
we are to be doing. It's challenging, but everyone's been helpful. in
Tony?
trying.
I just know that in our area there's a mutual water system that's been falling through the cracks, so I'll be watching for the list.
What's that?
It's a group of, it's called the Sherwood Water Group, and I can probably get you a contact name. I just have been told by various people that they haven't really been inspected.
Yeah, I would invite, if anyone had names of some entity that you believe might be a mutual water company, if you have any contact information, I'd be happy to gather all that information and hunt it.
I think if they share a holding tank, that's sort of, that's what needs to be inspected, is those holding tanks, because that's where chlorination issues or contamination issues arise, and it's important to get them listed.
I think we need a definition of a mutual water company too.
Yeah, that would
So we're
help.
not spinning our wheels on a bunch of little things that necessarily need it.
Do we
Teresa?
have it?
I was just going to ask if we had that.
There is,
Because I'm unclear, I'm sorry.
yeah, it's okay. There is a definition in the code for mutual water company. It's not very clear. You would think it would specify number of connections or something like that, and it didn't. So I'm trying to get more clarity on that from other LAFCOs who have gone through this exercise. Yeah, just to clarify, when we do look up the state, at the state websites, we get well over 50, and they include all the commercial permits that they have out there, and special districts as well. So we have to kind of go through that. It's a process.
A lot of work.
I know it's determined on the number of service lists, how many households, how many whatever you're serving, that puts you in those categories. And under a certain amount, I think it's 20 hookups, under 20 hookups, I don't think you have to go through the vigorous, but I'm not sure what that number is. Been too long.
Yeah, there's a threshold.
Carol, you had a comment?
But
Probably has
I was
changed,
really
too.
looking for a definition,
Probably change that threshold.
because this is a new concept to me.
So we do a profile. We have to do it every 5 years, just like an MSR.
It doesn't specify that. It says when LAFCO goes through the MSR process that they should just, wrap this information in. Yeah, I think that we do this first round, and then we'll have to look at it in the work plan for when it would be appropriate to do it again.
Okay.
And I do see it kind of playing into SOIs as well, so.
Yeah,
in
because of
some
the,
especially around the cities.
right. Beth?
Well, to address your point that it's taking a lot of time, it really isn't taking that much time. And once the discovery is made, then we'll have the list. And then UMA's actually come up with a plan for annually to address any updates with special districts, and we can simply send that to the mutual water companies as well.
I was just making the point that we're behind a little bit because of the delays and the SOIs, that we're also doing more work here that wasn't probably anticipated when the contract was first
It was
issued.
Well, I think it was originally in
I don't
the-
remember it, but
I have the
could've been
original.
in
Anyway,
there.
but they're two separate entities. I'm working on the mutual water companies,
Okay.
and UMA and Larkin are working on the SOIs. So it isn't actually taking any staff time away from the regular work plan.
Go on.
Well, we're kind of speculating quite a bit, so I wonder if we might not ask staff on the next update of the
Give an
work plan
update.
that they include a paragraph that would include the ambiguous definition of mutual water companies and just what AB 54 seems to require, and why it isn't an unfunded state mandate.
That was my point. Do mutual water companies pay LAFCO fees? No, but is the state providing us with any funds to spend our staff time on this?
Nope.
That was my question. too.
Welcome to the NFL. So, any other comments on this item on the agenda? Is there anybody in the audience that'd like to make a comment on our mid-year budget? Seeing none. This is just an information item, correct?
Correct.
No more comments. We'll move on to item 8, information and reporting items, work plan, current and future proposals.
We have nothing new on active or future projects. We did finish up the pre-application request for the Millview County Water District, and as you noted, there is a $10 refund to them for time not expended. And then we've pretty much gone over the MSR and SOI updates already. But we, just to clarify, we have done 5 of the workshops on the fire districts. We have 3 out for district review, and then 6 are in the process of being drafted. Our intent is to draft those this month and get them all out for review. We're still hoping to have all of the workshops done by March. We've completed the City of Fort Bragg MSR and SOI update, and we are working with the City of Willits. Brook Trails is close. We are waiting for some additional information from the district. The Redwood Coast Fire Protection District is an MSR and SOI update, and that one is also close. We hope to bring that in March for the workshop. And then we'll be getting out the request for information to the remaining districts on our work plan.
Tony, you can help out with, have you tried talking to your staff about helping out?
You mean our single staff member who was on vacation, who is now back, but no, she's been keeping up with it.
Okay.
She's close. There's just a few items. There's been a few changes just in the last 30 days.
Carrie?
Well, I would just like to report the passing of Bill Kohler. And came very...
When did that happen?
Just the week before Christmas.
Oh, my gosh.
And so, you know, Redwood Valley, Millview, Willow,
He was,
he was representing a number of those water districts. And thank the Lord, the week before he left to go on Christmas vacation, he did quite extensive work for Redwood Valley based on the fire and, you know, the infrastructure and what was lost and everything. So Tamara, Dave, everybody's trying to step up, including board members. But, you know, it is a big loss.
yes, it is.
For the different water districts that are in Ukiah Valley.
Okay. Your future projects, we only have 2 left, not 3, so you might want to note that for next month. So I did make a comment on, I think John brought it up, or Tony, if there's anything we can do as commissioners to help it along or make contact. I know Dan's talked about it, Hamburg, in the past, so you could talk to a few people to help out. Or I'd be willing to go to some of the meetings as well and ask if there's any things we can do to help support, move it along. Because we'd like to get these done. I mean, that's my goal, is to get all our SOIs and MSRs at least completed, and then we can do our 5 years. So anything I can do, John, you could do, or Carrie, it'd be a big help.
Well, I think that's fine. At the same time, I don't think we're really anticipating changes in the SOIs. So, you know, at some point, we just move forward, schedule it for a workshop.
Yeah, I would just...
And we go with the information we have.
We just, unfortunately, we get these SOIs, MSRs without the financial information, not quite understanding what we're looking for. And I could bring that up, or one of us could bring up that we're looking for income statements, not budgets, and how you are doing with your depreciation, and do you have reserves, and those kind of things. Because a lot of the information we're getting doesn't come forward like that. It's difficult for us to make determinations.
Correct.
So anyway.
Which reinforces the point of combining the SOI and the MSR.
Right.
So we only have to
Ask
chase them around
once.
the mulberry bush once.
Right. Carol?
Is it possible that we could either send or have some kind of a training for these people that explains exactly what kind of financial information we want and how to get it? Because many of them, I'm sure, don't have the kind of expertise that some of you do in creating that kind of information.
Well, most of them are audited, so I would just provide their audit. I mean, that's going to be the information we're looking for.
I think if we were very specific, or we talked to them about the financial, because what we really need is the financial part, and that seems to be the hardest for them to deliver.
Right, or it's real old, 2 or 3 years
Or
old.
it's always old.
What do you do, Uma, with the information that you're requesting, requiring financial information?
What we've been doing is sending them a table with the identifying the information that we're looking for, and then we request a balance sheet from them. We've also requested their audits, but we found that most of their audits are at least 2 or 3 years old, because they're on a schedule that they only have to do them every 3 years or every 5 years. I just wanted to point out too that as Commissioner McCowan said, a lot of these are volunteers, and some of them only meet every other month and not every month. So that has also been part of the delay and the difficulty in getting that information. For example, Pier C Fire Protection District, very small, and they just meet periodically.
But at the same time, there's these districts that are really hurting, and are they going to actually perform based on their financial condition? That's what concerns me. How many barbecues do you have to have, and things like that? So those, as a commissioner, I need to know that they're going to stay in business. So it is important, even though if it's 3 or 5 years old, what do their budgets at least look like then? How are they spending their money, and do they have reserves? Because we need to then start talking about consolidations if they're not going to be able to make it.
The other thing we're doing is we are pulling information off the state controller's website, which has their annual reporting.
Okay.
Sure.
Anyway, Tony?
Yeah, on the City of Willits, I've been a little brainstorming, and after going through the Fort Bragg process, as you know, there's an old water company the city purchased, and because you're talking about combining an MSR update with the SOI, I did suggest to Jerry, when he was mayor, that they look into Municipal Improvement District as the solution to take in those areas around the city, similar to what Fort Bragg has done. And that can be a LAFCO-driven process.
Good. Any other comments? Beth?
You mentioned that you would like to get these done, but we are actually these last ones are ones that we do have standing MSRs and SOIs from Frank McMichael's time period, so they are updates. I know you've been trying to get. We're caught up now. That's what I'm trying to say. I mean, we're a little delayed, but it is happening.
Yeah, you guys are doing a good job. I didn't mean, I just wanted, I'd rather to see this next 5-year program going on.
Yeah.
Where we could, as John suggested, bring them both in, and we spend 20 minutes on it because of just a few updates, and we'll move on to the next one.
It's happening, Jerry.
Okay.
Don't forget, we've had a few of those, Russian River and...
Well, I'm just here
Fort
to
Bragg.
push. Okay, we'll move on. Is there anyone in the audience want to comment on our SOI MSR updates? All right, we'll move on to correspondence, 8B.
For the correspondence, just other than what's here, I just wanted to note that there is an updated Cortese-Knox-Hertzberg Act that is available on the CALAFCO website, and I think we have a hard copy in the office. So if we can order those also if folks want a hard copy, but they can be downloaded from the CALAFCO website.
Do you know offhand are there significant changes, or are they just like website technology changes, or do you know what the updates are?
My recollection is that there isn't anything significant, but I'll reach out and respond to that.
I'll look at it.
Okay, what's the Cortese-Knox-Hertzberg? Is that the same thing? Or is that?
Yeah, that is the same thing.
All right. Any more on correspondence? Any correspondence? We'll go on to executive officer report.
We've been working on, we responded to a CALAFCO survey that had to do with MSR determinations and sphere of influence determinations for reorganization, consolidation, and dissolution. CALAFCO put this survey out to all the LAFCOs looking for feedback so that they can pursue legislation and funding would probably be a one-time funding for LAFCOs to implement some of those MSR determinations. I think specifically as they relate to consolidation and dissolution. So we spent some time responding to that. Let's see, special district nominations are due February 15th. I don't believe we've received any yet. Okay, thank you. And then Larkin and I have signed up for the CALAFCO University course that's on January 22nd in Sacramento. It's LAFCO's Evolving Mission, New Laws, Requirements, and Transparency. So we'll be attending that, and I can report on that in February. And I think that's all I have.
Okay. Any questions? All right, we'll move on to committee reports. I don't believe the executive committee met. Did the policy and procedure committee meet? No. The executive committee is meeting today. So I'm not sure the time, Kevin and Carrie, but
At 10 o'clock.
10 o'clock. Okay. Commission reports. None? I just want to bring up that from the last meeting, staff was going to recommend further information on some training, LAFCO 101, Brown Act stuff. Did we get any update on that?
I think we have that as a discussion item at today's executive committee meeting, where we're going to look, request some feedback on whether LAFCO would like to host some of those trainings. We have been in touch with county council about the possibility of doing that.
Okay.
And Brick Trails this January 20th is doing the Ethics Brown Act training, available to
Yeah, I wanted
anyone.
to bring that up again too.
And it's from 9:30 till noon on a Saturday.
The 20th?
I believe the 20th is a Saturday.
And I did forward that out to the special districts by email.
Okay, any other commission reports, comments, questions? CalAFCO Business and Legislative Report?
The only thing I have on this, and I did send out and forwarded the email to all the commissioners, is the legislative committee has an opening if anyone is interested. The deadline is today at 5 o'clock, so you could let me know or Pamela know with CalAFCO as soon as possible.
Kevin, I think, said he would volunteer.
Teresa was.
You've been so quiet today. It's an alternate position, so you may not have to go all the time. Okay, that's it. Any other last comment? We are adjourned. Bam. I like doing that.
So I'm driving the Chevy Bolt.
Oh, next month you guys got to get the same shirt as Tony and I. So you're in the